Last week, the Manipur government withdrew from the suspension of operations agreement with two tribal insurgent groups in the state. These are the Kuki National Army and the Zomi Revolutionary Army. And this is basically a peace deal which the government had signed with these two insurgent groups in 2008, and since then it's been renewed. But in a very unexpected move, the government withdrew from it last week. The Chief Minister of Manipur, Mr. Biren Singh, he said that this was because these two groups were apparently influencing agitation among forest encroachers. This is the reason he gave. On March 10th, there were protests across 3 districts in Manipur, and these are the Kuki majority districts, the tribal districts in Manipur, in Churachandpur, in Tengnupal, and in Kangpokpi. And these protests were basically against encroachment drive the government had conducted last month. So since last year, the Manipur government has been sending out these notices to villages in Churachandpur district, where mostly the Kuki tribe stays, and basically sending out eviction notices and calling the people who live there encroachers. And they said that this is basically where they are living. This was part of a protected forest area, and that they had to basically move from there. So these notices were sent out from August 2022, but it was only in February 2023, that is last month, that the government set out on an eviction drive and started clearing one particular village called the K Songjang village in Churachandpur district. And this basically, led to clashes between the residents and the police authorities. Now, after that happened, the Kuki tribe, the apex body of the Kuki tribe, which is called the Kuki Inpi, they called for a peaceful rally on March 10th to protest against these evictions. And before the protest happened, the government imposed Section 144, so to prevent the protest from happening. But the protest happened anyway. So now on March 10, when these parallel protests started happening in different districts of Manipur, even if it was the call was for a peaceful protest, but in one particular district in Kangpokpi, it turned violent, because when the police tried to stop the locals from protesting, and one thing led to another, and then there was a clash. At least five or six people were hurt, and so were a few policemen. The government is basically alleging that these protests which happened were done for an unconstitutional purpose. They are saying that these people who were protesting were actually encroachers on protected forest land, as well as and the fact that they were using these forest lands for poppy cultivation, or for running a drugs business. So that is what the government has alleged. And the second important thing they've said is that they are saying that the Zomi Revolutionary Army and the Kuki National Army are the groups which propped up these protesters. So these are the two things the government is saying. But what the Kuki tribal groups are maintaining is that they're saying that the protests had nothing to do with the armed groups, and these were peaceful protests, and they were basically agitating against the high-handedness of the Manipur government. Okay, and they're also saying that what the Manipur government is doing by trying to clear these forest areas of tribal residents is that they are also diluting the Article 371C of the Constitution, which basically gives administrative autonomy to the tribal-dominated hill areas of Manipur. So, for the tribe, for the Kuki tribe, they're saying that, whatever the government is doing, the fact that they are trying to clear them off their land, which, they've lived in for centuries, and they claim to be the rightful owners of the land. So they are basically saying that, this is not just evicting our land, they're not just evicting us from our land, but they're also evicting our right to exist, and they're evicting our rights to our customs. So that is the point of view from the Kuki tribal bodies. Now, after this has happened, this incident is basically Chief Minister Biren Singh's first major challenge after he was sworn in for a second term last year. So Biren Singh is known to be a chief minister who is popular among the tribal population of Manipur too. So you have to go back to the fault lines in Manipur. So basically, geographically, Manipur is divided into the hills and the valleys. Now, valley is where the majority Meitei population stays, and the surrounding hills are where the tribal population stays. So that's the Kukis and the Nagas. For long, there has been a deep fault line between these two regions, because the tribals often feel, both Kukis and Nagas, they often feel that, the development has not been at par with the development in the valley areas, and they feel that the Meitei community, that they wield more economic and political power. So that's always been a deep running fault line between the two areas in Manipur. So now, with Biren Singh as a chief minister, he's always been seen as a chief minister who's tried to reach out to the tribals. He's also had, these campaigns called "Go to the Hills," which have, which for to a large extent have been received positively. But now, with this happening, it seems that his reputation among the tribals may be affected because of this, and it may affect his popularity among the tribals. And also, another important thing I'd like to say is that there's also another political party called the Kuki People's Alliance, and this political party was formed ahead of the 22 elections last year, and they had contested 2 seats and they had won both. This is a political party which represents Kuki interests, and after the elections, even if they had contested independently, they had extended support to the BJP government. But now, after this incident has happened, it has not sort of stopped them from criticizing what the Biren Singh government has done. So they've also been, pretty vocal about the injustice of the government and the high-handedness with the way they've sort of, carried out these eviction drives. And after that, how they've made allegations about the fact that these people have been propped up by the insurgent organizations. So currently, even parties which were seen friendly to the BJP government, even they seem to be criticizing them. There are 25 Kuki insurgent groups in all. And in 2008, a tripartite agreement was signed between the center, the state government, and these groups. And it was an arrangement which was not exactly like a ceasefire, but sort of like a ceasefire. And it meant that, the violence and hostilities would end from all sides, and that they would initiate a political dialogue. So this is a sort of like a peace arrangement, one say. Now, in 2022, ahead of the elections, the Home Minister had also, Amit Shah, when he had come to Manipur, he had also promised to solve the Kuki insurgency issue, and if BJP was voted to power. So the Kukis, basically, like the Nagas, have also been demanding like a separate Kuki homeland or a separate ethnic state from them for them. And initially it was a demand for a homeland, and now it is basically a demand for a separate autonomous territorial council. Now that the government has withdrawn from this pact, we'll have to see what the center says about this and what step they decide to take. Just after this happened, after the Biren Singh government withdrew from the agreement, the chief minister came to Delhi and met the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, possibly about this matter only. And we don't know what transpired in the meeting, but in the days to come, we should be able to figure.